The targets of this group were the Premier of the Western Region, Ladoke Akintola, and the Deputy Premier of the same region, Chief Remi Fani Kayode, father to Femi Fani Kayode. Chief Remi Fani Kayode was a man of style. He was highly respected across board, and in some circles people feared him. In fact, he was given the nickname Fani Power. On the day of the coup, he was arrested by Nwobosi and his group, but he was not killed. The Premier Ladoke Akintola was also arrested, but he was killed. This video narrates the story of how Chief Remi Fani Kayode's life was spared on the day the Prime Minister of the country, 2 premiers, and several senior military officers and top politicians were killed. His being alive beyond the 15th day of January 1966 can be described as miraculous. One of the participants in the coup, Major Adewale Ademoyega, has narrated the story of the survival in his book titled Why We Struck. At page 114 of the book, Ademoyega narrates as follows, in quotes, "The unit that operated for us in Ibadan left Abeokuta around midnight. It consisted of 2 officers and 21 other ranks. They traveled in a Land Rover and a 3-tonner. They had written orders to arrest both Chief Akintola and his deputy, Chief Fani Kayode. Having made Ibadan before the HR, which was 0200 hours, they disrupted both the telephone communications and electric power supply. At the HR, they were at the house of Chief Fani Kayode. Having gained entry into the house, they summoned the deputy premier, who surrendered to them without a fight. Fani Kayode came towards the soldiers with both hands up and shouting, 'I surrender, don't kill me, I beg, don't kill me.' The author continued, still in quotes. The soldiers started to ask themselves if that was really the man called Fani Power. Those who knew him confirmed that he was. As it was in all other cases, the soldiers had orders not to kill anyone who surrendered. So they took him away under arrest. Later, they were at the Premier's lodge. They tried to use the same method to arrest Chief Akintola, but Akintola gave them a fight and opened gunfire on them, wounding the unit commander, Captain Nwobosi, and his second in command. In the fracas that followed, Akintola was shot. Captain Nwobosi had been ordered to bring his unit 100 mm pack howitzer with some live rounds to Lagos after his Ibadan operation, so as to support us in our Lagos operation. Nwobosi acted accordingly. He ordered one of his sergeants to return to Abeokuta and collect the gun plus live ammunition and a team of 12 gunners. They were to report to 2nd Battalion Barracks Ikeja. The sergeant did exactly as was commanded, but when he arrived at the Ikeja cantonment with his crew, they were all arrested. Before then, Captain Nwobosi himself and his second in command and a few soldiers had driven straight from Ibadan to Lagos in the Land Rover. They took the arrested Chief Fani Kayode with them. They made straight to the Federal Guards Officers' Mess Ikoyi, arriving there at about 7 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, they landed into the hands of Ironsi's troops and were all arrested. Later, their own captive, Chief Fani Kayode, was released by the reactionaries. End of quote. This is how the life of Chief Victor Babare Milokun Adetokunbo Fani Kayode, Queen's Counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Commander of the Niger, was saved from destruction. It was certainly his creator at work. It was divine providence. It was not by his power nor by his might. It was sheer grace. He was in the den with lions, but he came out alive. From the account of the author of Why We Struck, Remi Fani Kayode was spared because he surrendered without resistance. But the question here is, did all the persons killed on that night resist the coup plotters? A number of them did not, but they were killed. The 8-month-old pregnant wife of Brigadier Samuel Ademologun, for instance, did not put up any resistance in Kaduna when she was killed. In the book written by her daughter Sholakwe Ademologun with the title The Brigadier's Daughter, Ademologun's wife was even begging the soldiers on her knees when she was shot. The wife of Sir Ahmadu Bello, Hafsatu, did not resist the coup plotters in Kaduna when she was killed along with her husband. It can indeed be said that, other than his non-resistance approach, Fani Kayode was served by the divine. But it remains without debate that if he had made any attempt to bring out a pistol in self-defense, he would have been shot and killed by the soldiers who were armed to the teeth and ready for action. On that night alone, several very important persons in Nigeria had been killed by the executors of Nigeria's first military coup. Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa was killed. Sir Ahmadu Bello, Premier of the North, was killed. His wife Hafsatu was also killed. His driver and personal secretary were also killed. The Premier of the West, Ladoke Akintola, was killed. Brigadier Samuel Ademologun was also killed. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Shodeinde was also killed, and another military top brass, Bogo Lagema, was also killed. According to the coup planners and executors, the reason for killing them was to remove corrupt elements from the country and sanitize the country for good. For them, the persons penciled for elimination were the reason for Nigeria's inability to develop at the expected speed. Thus, eliminating them was for the coup planners the best thing that would happen to Nigeria. But the coup plotters were heavily criticized for taking such unconventional routes. Analysts have said that the killings of January 15, 1966 remains at the root of the perennial distrust that has existed among ethnic nationalities in Nigeria till this day. It was an unforgettable night. It was a night of blood. It was horrific. How Chief Remi Fani Kayode remained alive into the next day was itself a miracle for which Fani Kayode remained eternally grateful. Fani Kayode lived on till October 1995 when he passed on to the great beyond at the age of 74, having been born in 1921. Had he been killed in 1966, he would have died at the age of 45. Chief Remi Fani Kayode was from a prominent and well-educated Yoruba family. He was a father to the former Minister of Aviation, FFK. Chief Remi Fani Kayode was born on 22nd December 1921 in Chelsea, England. He died in Brighton, England on October 1995. At the time of his birth, his parents were in the United Kingdom. Remi's father was a London-trained lawyer who was called to the Middle Temple in 1922. Remi's grandfather, the Reverend Emmanuel Adedapo Kayode, was a respected Anglican priest who had earned his Master's of Arts degree way back in 1885. On his part, Remi attended the University of Cambridge where he studied law. In 1945, he was called to the English bar at the Middle Temple. He practiced law with distinction, and in 1960, he was made a Queen's Counsel. In 1977, he was made a Senior Advocate of Nigeria, becoming the third SAN in Nigeria. Back home in Nigeria, he combined law practice with politics. In 1954, he was elected as the leader of the Action Group's youth wing. He was vocal against colonial rule. He stood election and was elected into the Federal House of Assembly in Lagos under the platform of the Action Group. There, he made useful contributions on topical issues affecting Nigeria. He is the one who moved the first successful motion for Nigeria's independence on the floor of the Federal Parliament. He added in his motion that Nigeria should have its independence not later than 1st April 1960. The motion was later amended on the application of Tafawa Balewa, who was also a member of Parliament. He suggested that the date should be shifted from 1st April 1960 to 1st October 1960. Nigeria indeed gained independence on 1st October 1960 and Chief Remi Fani Kayode is credited as the progenitor of the motion that successfully led to Nigeria's independence after more than 100 years of British dominance in Nigeria. The memory of Chief Remi Fani Kayode shall remain green in the history books of Nigeria and of Africa for many years to come, and his survival in the hands of the executors of Nigeria's first military coup